your nightmares begin? When darkness becomes backdrop and fears forge a fantasy with you paralyzed, protesting silence against all your triggers, who made home in the moments God seems to be missing? Or are you never afraid alone? When you wake, you're not breaking out in a sweat. You don't check for your teeth and take a deep breath to make sure you didn't drown. Do you not feel for the ground or the bed and make sure all the monsters are still under there? No, because it all just stops. Well, do you want to hear about my dreams last night? Because my nightmares have been on repeat for the past 10 years. Trauma movies in my mind in the absence of peace, because when absent here, present trauma is so persistently arrogant, resurfacing the suffering of an inescapable memory over and over and over again. This must be what haunting feels like. So I asked God, why was I on the hit list? Why isn't the horror over yet? Why does he ignore my self-pity? I cry, because every love song is another we're over text. Every meme is memory lane, front desk phones ringing, bad hair days and running, are all killers chasing me when I can't move, numb to caution taping black faces on newscast, worrying for names I find familiar. You see, the stacking pile of clothes on the floor are burying days I don't want to remember, and a burden of laziness they say I carry in each load. Because that's what this mental war is, right? A choice. So I just avoid it all, and I just take Pepto-Bismol for the stomach pains, and I use Dr. Bronner's soap for the acne. But it's all too real. Too much to ignore, because I feel sad most days. Triggered, and a depression diagnosis doesn't dismiss the dark or give reason to want to breathe, with post-traumatic stress disordering the terror in my mind with a lack of unbelief. You see, this illness I accept for now. Tonight, like the dark details. So I name it, to give it to God, to tuck it into my bedtime prayers. You see, have you ever told God your scary stories? Admitting you're broken and too weak to handle all the plot twists. When you try, the vibrato in your voice tiptoes your trembling tongue. You have to hear the monster come from the sound of your mouth. Your speech speaks almost silent squeals and subtle screams, articulating each word as if the nightmare gets closer by the next, talking about the bad, your mistakes and misfortunes out loud, owning destruction and welcoming disaster to your identity, and then asking him to be healer. Over and over and over again. Lord, do nightmares really ever end, or is the agony a part of our anatomy? Because I feel sad most days. And sometimes it's easier to wipe these tears in prose, to become storyteller for others to carry the climax with me, turning my trauma into a folktale. The campfire become like open mic safe haven, while the fire pit illuminates the shadow puppets that keep replaying in my mind. Souls lend me their ears, that flashback chills crawling underneath their mask when the truth cries out. Them too hiding their mistakes as goosebumps so they'll snap, because they know just how bad it hurts and how impossible it can feel to pray. So when you take a breath of liberation after amen, do you suppress what's left? Does the closing prayer reverse its freedom back down your throat because you realize the damage is done and it still hurts? Or do you sleep gorgeously, sheepishly jumping over the moon because your pain is God's project? Then tell me, what's it like to accept the trauma? To become brave enough to haunt your own reality with the past, to accept nightmares as part of self, and brokenness as our play, because it's almost blasphemous to say I love you to an I am you don't know in the bad times, without the tears, without the days that suck. I know it can feel impossible to love the whole drama. So do you daydream about peace too?